Fun Spot Atlanta has had one heck of a glow up in recent years. What was once your standard family entertainment center was purchased by Fun Spot America and transformed into a legitimate amusement park complete with a world-class roller coaster and ArieForce One. This ride alone makes Fun Spot Atlanta worth a visit, and I will explain why in this review. This park opened back in 1990 as Dixieland Fun Park. Originally, the park had the usual FEC offerings such as go-kart tracks, miniature golf, and arcade games, but they started to dip their toes into traditional amusement rides in the 2000s. This included the coaster now known as Hurricane. This was an E&F miler coaster relocated from Arizona's Wild Island. In 2012, the park was rebranded as Fun Junction USA. I visited this park during this time period. I had a fun hour there, but didn't really feel the urge to return. In 2017, Fun Spot America purchased the property, and just 1 year later, the park was renamed Fun Spot Atlanta. This was the third Fun Spot park. The other two are located in Florida, one in Kissimmee and one in Orlando. Both these parks started off as traditional FECs known for their multi-level go-kart tracks. But over the past decade, they grew into amusement parks, each with their own signature wood coaster. Everyone expected Fun Spot to give the Atlanta park a big new coaster, but no one expected just how big they'd go with ArieForce One. It was stunning a park of this scale could afford a full-size RMC, but it makes sense when you look at the money their Florida parks pull in. Fun Spot Kissimmee and Fun Spot Orlando are in busy touristy areas. You have many families looking for something to do as they drive down International Drive. The locations are absolute gold mines. Fun Spot Atlanta is in a much different location. While it is located directly off of Highway 85, the park is in Fayetteville, Georgia. This is 20 miles south of downtown Atlanta and 10 miles south of the airport. There isn't any public transit to the park, so you need to have a car, and not many tourists are going to be driving that far south on their own accord. That is why I think it's critical that Fun Spot Atlanta improves its marketing, especially after adding a coaster as fantastic and expensive as ArieForce One. This ride is better than anything at Six Flags Over Georgia. While coaster enthusiasts know about this ride and park, your average tourist does not even know it exists. Heck, a lot of locals don't even know about this place. I didn't see any billboards for this park driving around Atlanta, nor did I see any brochures at the hotels I stayed at. And talking to locals, it doesn't sound like there have been many TV commercials either. This is quite shocking if you've been in the Orlando area recently. Those Fun Spot parks aggressively market using all media. They have their logo everywhere, even on benches, and they also have super corny commercials that stick with you. Fun Spot Atlanta's main marketing tactic thus far has been placing ArieForce One right next to the roadway. While this is a highway and it gets quite a bit of traffic, it is not a major interstate. It is quite a ways from the major interstates. This is a start, but it's not enough. They need to do more so they can get more visitors and continue to grow. They just need to look at what their Florida parks are doing. The chain clearly has the marketing know-how. They just need to share it with the Atlanta park and implement some of those methods. Now let's talk about this park's setup. It is pretty strange. The original parking lot was transformed to a midway at some point, so now you park in a dirt lot behind the property. Unlike the Florida parks, parking is not exactly free in the Atlanta park. I find that pretty strange because it's not even in a touristy area. Everyone must pay $5 to park, but you get $5 in credits that you can spend at the park on rides, food, or games, so it's basically a wash as long as you are intending to buy something inside the park. Admission is free. If you want to ride anything, you can either pay per ride or purchase an all-day wristband. Kiddie rides will cost you $5 a piece, family rides each cost $7, and the biggest rides, including the go-kart tracks and ArieForce One, will cost you $12. If you plan to ride multiple rides, definitely get the day pass. You especially will want to do this if you're a coaster enthusiast, because I guarantee it you'll want a marathon ArieForce One. Day passes cost roughly $35 online, which is more affordable than the Florida parks. They also offer an evening special that'll save you a few bucks. While the Florida Fun Spot parks are very much landlocked, the Atlanta park has plenty of land available. Once you enter the park, you have a lagoon off to your right with additional land behind it. Then you have a fairly open midway with plenty of room to plop down some additional flat rides. And I'm not sure how much land they own next to ArieForce, but they can at least build something where the old mini golf course was. I'm excited to see this park grow in the future. Fun Spot went for the home run with ArieForce One, and that ride adds so much energy to this park. You cannot help but get excited seeing that towering lift hill as you approach the park. Then the array of bunny hills make for a great backdrop once inside the park. I also like the peaceful lagoon off to the side. Then you also have this well-themed western building running alongside the main midway. This sticks out like a sore thumb because nothing else in the park is themed, and I do like how this building looks. But the rest of the park needs a lot of work in my opinion. Most of the park feels like a carnival. You have food trailers and portable rides everywhere. But worst of all, you are literally walking atop a former parking lot, and they don't even try to hide it. You can see the space is still visible. New pavement would go a long way to making the park feel and look much nicer. Then past years, you also had parts of old rides just sitting out in the open on the midway. It was not a good look. Fortunately, the park cleaned up a lot of this in 2023 at least. The fencing, or lack thereof, is also a bit weird at this park. You have a few areas where I was asking myself if I was even allowed to walk over there. There's no fence blocking you from walking right up to the lagoon. Even odder, there is nothing stopping you from walking right up next to ArieForce One. You also could very easily walk out from ArieForce One directly into the road, bypassing this park's main entrance entirely. Everything felt much looser than your average park. The park layout is fairly simple. It more or less forms an E shape. You have a long stretch next to that western building that holds the arcade and main restaurant. At one point, this path continues under ArieForce One, and you'll find a cluster of flat rides. Then you have 3 branches that jut out towards Hurricane, the Samson Go-Kart track, and ArieForce One. Now let's talk about the operations. The Florida Fun Spot parks are famous for their long hours and daily operations. The Atlanta property is open long hours and weekends. They are also usually open weekdays when school is on break. But during the quieter periods, you may find just the arcade open on weekdays, if the park is even open at all. And that's not too surprising given how this park is not in a tourist destination like the Florida parks. As with the other Fun Spot parks, you may find rotating ride operators. I often see this in the cluster of rides towards the front of the park, but it's not a big deal. Just stand by a ride's entrance and someone will usually come over after finishing the cycle on an adjacent attraction. As I hinted at the start, crowds are very light here. I have visited this park a few different times, both before and after ArieForce One, and I have never had to wait for anything. This includes visits on holiday weekends no less. On my most recent visit, I came from a very busy Six Flags Over Georgia to find barely anyone at Fun Spot Atlanta. It is a coaster enthusiast's dream to have a ride as epic as ArieForce One that is almost always a walk-on. But to be honest, I kind of hope crowds pick up at this park to make their bold investment pay off. Now let's move into the ride lineup. The park currently has 3 different roller coasters. The Big Kahuna is easily ArieForce One. This Rocky Mountain Construction iBox coaster is a powerhouse. It is extremely aggressive. It has some of the most intense ejector airtime of any coaster, particularly on that return run. Your body will be violently chucked upwards. But that's not all this coaster does. You also have a great first drop and 4 spectacular inversions. The Raven Trust dive is chock full of head choppers. The Zero-G stall is oodles of hang time. Then the 2 barrel rolls later in the ride are quick and loaded with laterals. See my review for more, but this is the best coaster in all of Georgia. In fact, it's one of the world's best coasters altogether. Then you have Hurricane. This E&F Miler coaster is the stats of a family coaster. but it has an edge to it. The turns are ridiculously sharp, so the train slams into them, giving sharp laterals. Then you have some airtime as well. You get some floater towards the start of the ride, but there are two smaller hills towards the end giving solid ejector. This ride is not for everyone, but I do like its jankiness, and I have a review going more in depth. The final coaster is Sea Serpent. This is a miler kiddie coaster identical to the one found at the Kissimmee location. It is tame and the perfect starter coaster for kids. And if you're a coaster enthusiast, yes, you can ride this without a kid if you want the credit. While you won't find any dark rides here, the park does have a great mix of go-kart tracks. The most notable is Samson. This is a complex multi-level course with some long helixes. If that's not difficult enough, there's a big drop followed by a quick turn later in the ride. It takes a lot of skill not to fishtail and spin out here. Road course is more straightforward, but it still has some fun turns, an overpass, and a tunnel. Add in cars with good speed, and you have a track ripe for racing. Sprint track is the most compact of the adult tracks, but this one may require the most skill. You have sharp turns, so you'll need to strategically brake along the way. Then for the little ones, you have the junior track. The carts are much slower than the larger tracks, but it is great for kids who are not ready for the larger courses. If you want a water ride to cool off on a hot day, your only choice is the bumper boats, but unfortunately during my visits, I have not seen too many people riding them. Moving on to the flat rides, this park is a solid collection. The best of the bunch is Hot Seat. This is the park's S&S Scream and Swing. While it only has one arm, it offers some nice floater airtime in the max swings, and you also get good visuals dodging ArieForce. The cycle is short, but it is a rush. Then there's a nice collection of spinning rides, many of which are classics. Two in particular stand out. Paratrooper is the only one I've ever seen that runs backwards. Being pulled upwards with the swinging makes it feel like you're going to invert. Spider is the park's most dizzying ride, as you can throw your weight into the rotations to get forceful spins. Ferris wheel is noteworthy if you're a photographer, as it offers some great aerial views of ArieForce One. Last but not least, the park is an assortment of kiddie rides for the little ones, some towards the front, and some backed by Hot Seat. Moving beyond the rides, you have some FEC offerings. In that big indoor area, you have an arcade full of modern games and also a laser tag arena. Some other stuff has been removed in recent years like the zipline and mini golf course as the park transitions more into an amusement park. But don't worry, the go-karts are here to stay as they're a calling card for all fun spots, even as the chain adds more and more rides. As for food, I cannot comment too much in this area. Because of how long I usually spend here, I haven't had a meal here. I usually eat before or after I'm at the park. The only thing I've had to eat is an Auntie Anne's pretzel, which is identical to what you can find at malls all across the country. So, do I recommend Fun Spot Atlanta? Yes, I do. I think this is a must for most people. If you love racing, this park is a really nice collection of go-kart tracks. You also have a respectable arcade and indoor area, making it a nice option for birthday parties for kids. But the star of the show is undeniably ArieForce One. This is a bucket list coaster that makes this park a must visit, especially because the low crowds mean you can lap this coaster for hours on end. This is the main reason I'll keep coming back to this park whenever I'm in Atlanta. How much time will you need? I think most people only need a few hours here, whatever your taste may be. If you're a coaster enthusiast, the big question is how long you'll want to marathon ArieForce One. I could ride this coaster all day long, breaking it up with an occasional flat ride or go-kart race. This park is quite easy to tack on after a visit to Six Flags Over Georgia, because it's just a half hour away and also tends to be open later. It is the perfect nightcap. I did that a few times this past spring. I really hope this park's big investment in ArieForce One pays off. It was a bold move for a park of this scale. Most parks start small, adding filler rides and atmosphere, and they worked their way up to the big addition. FunSpot Atlanta decided to do the opposite. They basically took a glorified FEC that needed some TLC, and they plopped down a mega coaster. Now, they just need to go back and improve the aesthetics of the park. The rest of it simply is not up to the quality of ArieForce One. And once this is done, they have plenty of land to build further expansions if the property becomes financially successful. Time will tell what happens to this park, and we'll see if they continue to grow, or if ArieForce One will remain to be an outlier here, albeit an outlier that needs to be experienced by any thrill seeker. This truly is a destination coaster. So those are my thoughts on FunSpot Atlanta. What are your thoughts about this park and their decision to add ArieForce One? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.